Now, let's turn back to the tragedy in America, and it's the financial debacle we've got going on in this country. We're going to talk to Neil Irwin from the Washington Post, who's written about the Federal Reserve and what appears to be good news, but I'm not sure it is. Neil, welcome to the Young Turks.
How are you?
I'm great, and I really appreciate your time.
Sure.
First, tell us how much money the Federal Reserve earned this year, and then explain to us why the Federal Reserve is earning any money in the first place.
Sure. The number is about $46 billion, which is more than all the big Wall Street banks put together. The way the Federal Reserve works is it creates money and uses that money to buy assets, and that includes packages of mortgage loans and treasury bonds, and lately it includes the AIG bailout and the Bear Stearns bailout, and all those assets it buys, they pay interest, and so basically the difference between the interest that it earns and its operating expenses and the employee salaries, that sort of thing, ends up being a profit, which it then returns to the U.S. Treasury, which is used by Congress for everything else. Yeah, I mean, it is good news in the sense that more money is being returned to Congress and more money is being returned to the budget. It's bad news in the sense that the Fed ended up doing all these things to begin with, and that we've ended up with, a pretty vast expansion of things that nobody wanted to do, but have helped prop up the economy in this difficult couple of years.
So let's get into the details there, because every time we talk about the Fed, I get confused. Every time I think I've got it, I figured it out, I know what the Fed does, they throw another wrinkle at me. So has the Fed been buying assets and selling assets the whole time? Is that what they do?
Yeah, I mean, during normal times, they just buy very simple, plain vanilla Treasury bonds. So the way they turn the dial of the money supply, they either if the economy is overheating, they essentially pull money out of the system by selling bonds, Treasury bonds. If the economy is weak, they kind of try and stimulate growth by pumping money into the system by buying bonds and creating money and pumping that money into the financial system. So in normal times, they're buying and selling Treasury bonds all the time, and they usually make a few $1 billion a year. That's completely normal. What's different about this last couple of years is the economy's been so bad that they got interest rates already all the way to zero and needed to find other things to do. So instead of just buying normal Treasury bonds, short-term stuff, they bought long-term Treasury bonds. They've also bought mortgage-backed securities that are backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Essentially what that means is they've been, essentially loaning money to home buyers, and that's why, mortgage rates have been so low, because they've had to find other ways to try and stimulate the economy since they were at zero interest rate.
All right. Now, that's what I thought. I thought that they were in the business of buying Treasury bonds. That's how you control fiscal policy. I get that, right? But if they start buying mortgage-backed securities, are they public? Are they private? Are they looking to make a profit? But much, much more importantly, what happens if they have a loss? And is there any limits to what they can buy? I mean, I didn't think this was what we signed up for.
Yeah, what they've been buying is only the mortgage-backed securities backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which, while, the legal status of, is that government debt or not, has been in a very fuzzy realm in the last, over time, over the decades. In the last year or two, it really hasn't. Since the government took over Fannie and Freddie back in, I believe it was September of 2008, it's really been pretty clear that those are essentially obligations of the government. In fact, Fannie and Freddie have been a key way that the U.S. government's been propping up the housing market and trying to support the economy overall. So so could the Fed lose money on this? Well, maybe. If they end up selling bonds, first of all, they're not going to lose any money just on people defaulting on their mortgages, because the government's already on the hook for that. But where they could lose money is if, let's say a couple of years from now they need to reduce the money supply, they think the economy is overheating. If they have to sell some of those bonds, if rates have gone up, then they might actually lose a little money.
Neil, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think if they're buying mortgage-backed securities from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are a disaster, couldn't they lose a ton of money?
The U.S. taxpayer could, but not the Federal Reserve, which is ultimately the U.S. taxpayer. But essentially the government, both the Bush and Obama administrations, have said we're on the hook for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These are securities, guaranteed by these agencies that are in conservatorship that are basically 80% owned by the U.S. Treasury. So essentially, the government's already on the hook. Could there be loss in the Fed portfolio? That depends on what they do exactly. But in terms of if foreclosures are higher than expected, if more people default on their loans, the truth is, the U.S. taxpayer is already on the hook, more or less, for those loans, because Fannie and Freddie.
No. I know we're on the hook, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to have that problem. It means we are going to have that problem. It means at some point we're going to realize those mortgage-backed securities in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are a disaster, and that disaster is going to explode somewhere. And it could explode on the actual budget, the United States budget, or it could explode in the Fed. But if the Fed loses money, I still don't get who pays it. I mean, because they're not getting financing through the normal ways of Congress. They're their own entity, an entity that I don't think anyone quite understands. So let's say they have, I don't know, they've made $45 billion this year. What happens if they, quote unquote, lose $100 billion next year? Who pays that bill?
It would be really hard to have losses on that scale. As far as I've looked back, they've always made in the tens of billions. It's hard to know what exactly would happen if they were at a negative loss. I assume they would have to go to Congress and ask for the money, but I just don't know legally how that would work. It hasn't happened in just a long time. I'm not even sure of how what would happen in that situation.
Yeah, it can happen, and my guess is it will happen, because as you just explained, Neil, before they were just buying Treasury bonds, but now they're buying crap. Okay, I don't know who.
Keep in mind, I mean, again, these are the Fannie and Freddie securities. Again, they are backed by the taxpayer already. They're called agency debt. They trade at the same interest rates as Treasuries within not a fraction of a percentage point. It's not just the Fed. It's Chinese investors, it's pension funds, it's insurance companies. Everyone is treating these as if they are guaranteed by the U.S. government, because every administration has said, we're backing these things. This is what we're doing.
I know, but that's where we lose the money, by backing these things. I'm not saying the U.S. isn't.
Newly issued stuff. So there were some losses. Fannie and Freddie have incurred great losses, vast losses, hundreds of billions of dollars on loans made in the boom years. These are newly packaged MBS. So these are if you've tried to buy a house lately, it's a lot harder, pretty stringent standards. So what would have to happen for huge losses to happen from here is for even with these more stringent standards, if the economy gets so much worse that there's a big new wave of losses. I'm not saying it can't happen. We've seen that a lot of things can happen that you wouldn't expect. But these are not the subprime loans. These are, prime loans that have been made with higher standards in the last year or so.
All right, but so how do they who gets to make that decision? Now, I think it's entirely unwise. But but you can disagree on that, obviously. You can say, oh, no, it's still relatively safe. It's fairly wise, whatever. But a lot of the Fed, my understanding is there's the local branches of the Fed, which are appointed really basically by the bankers to regulate themselves, which is a joke. And then there's the National Fed, which is a little different, mostly appointed by the federal government, from what I understand. But, who gives them the authority? If Congress doesn't give them money, who gives them the authority to be able to make these decisions, wise or unwise?
The major decisions, so the chairman and the board of governors are appointed by the president, confirmed by the Senate, like most government agencies. You're right that they have a very strange structure. It's the regional. There's 12 regional Fed banks in New York and San Francisco and other major cities, and those regional banks. You're absolutely right. It's an absolutely bizarre structure. They have these boards of directors that are composed of bankers and business people in that district, and they name their president of the bank subject to the approval of the board of governors in Washington. So there's one little layer of a check there, but it is a strange system. The people who so then the people who make the decisions, it's the Federal Open Market Committee, which is all 7 of the members of the board of governors and a rotating cast of 3 out of those 12 Reserve Bank presidents. Finally, if they increase their, as you explained in your article, if they increase their lending from $1 trillion to a little over $2 trillion, about 2.14 trillion or so, and that's, to me, in the end, looks like a backdoor bailout. There was the backdoor bailout of AIG, but now we couldn't get $1 trillion out of Congress, so we just snapped our fingers and we told the Fed to just poof, magically appear another $1 trillion. I think of that as a front door bailout. That's what central banks do when the economy is bad. I mean, their job, when the economy is weak and inflation isn't a threat, their job is to create as much money as possible to try and create growth and get the unemployment rate back down. So, I mean, that it does create risks, and it creates financial risks for the Fed and for the taxpayer down the road. It creates risks of inflation. It creates all kinds of risks. But in terms of what you're supposed to do when there's a big output gap, when unemployment's high, is kind of what they're doing, which is creating a lot of money.
All right. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite them, but I fear that it will. But a very good report. We really appreciate the information. Neil Irwin from the Washington Post. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll be right back. Young Turks.